afternoon, everybody. Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell happened there. We've been having issues with the streams all day today. Sorry about that, everyone. It's Friday, January 30th, 2026. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you so much for tuning into Loud Majority Live. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. Wild day in news so far. Right now, Bernie Sanders is yelling on the House floor. He's very much like yelling, like Larry David. The hands are out. He's very excited. He's freaking out. We'll throw it to him if he says something interesting. Naturally, he showed up on the Senate floor without a comb, as he normally does. We got a new Fed chair. We will have a new Fed chair, as President Trump has named a new one. Don Lemon has been arrested, which is hilarious, just in and of itself. New Epstein files dropped, and right now the internet sleuths who haven't had anything to talk about in the last couple of days are going through all the documents, and we found out that turns out Bill Gates has an incurable STD that he got from Russian hookers, and asked Jeffrey Epstein for advice on that. Yeah, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. Turns out, being the richest man in the world, you still can't get laid. I'm not really sure how or why that would be the case, but, well, whatever. We'll dive into all that. Also, Democrats promote their new tax and spend policy, where they're going to tax, how would you say this? Everything. And not like just a couple things, and I'm being facetious. I mean, quite literally, they are taxing everything. Also, Texas's first gay judge decided to handcuff a man, an attorney, inside of a jury room and leave him there. That was pretty odd. And Budweiser is finally understanding the purpose of their product. We'll dive into all of that over the course of the day. But before we get started, guys, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We're going to pop the Rumble chat up onto the screen. Once again, sorry, I guess there's been streaming issues all day. Wherever you guys may be watching, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Hit the like button. Share the video out all over the place. If you're watching on Facebook, hit that little @ button. Tag your friends, tag your followers so that they can tune in as well. What's happening, everybody? Gina Marie says the Epstein files should be called the Clinton files. Yeah, well, pretty much as apparently the House is going to be the House is going to be voting on the contempt charges on Bill and Hillary Clinton when they come back. Oh, yeah, by the way, we've got a looming government shutdown in 8 hours. And it turns out the government actually is going to shut down because there's no possible way for it to stay open because Democrats apparently are going to hold up funding for TSA because they don't want to fund ICE, even though they've already funded it. That's right, even though they've already funded it. Shout out to everybody watching in all the chats. Before we get started, guys, do me a favor. Head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. That is the best way to support this show and everything we've got going on over here. You guys can pick out your FAFO equation t-shirt. Just in case you guys know anybody in your life who's not so good at math, you can show them the proper math. You can pick it up in every color. Giddy up, let's go. Look at that good stuff. Pick that up today. Guys, go to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Oh, TPH14 got their FAFO hoodie. I'm liking it. I hope you're liking it too. Oh, yeah, and at the end of the show, I've got some really sad news. Some really sad news that I just read like a minute ago that really upset me. But I got to tell you, we're going to have some fun today because I'm having just about one of the most annoying days imaginable. By the way, just a quick note, real quick. For anybody who may be watching, this happens a lot. Where people will message me and they'll ask me to promote things for them. And normally for fans, I have no problem doing it. But if you're going to call me and ask me to promote something, can I suggest you not be a huge asshole about it? Just a thought. I had to deal with that today. That was exciting. Some lady messaged me about starting a GoFundMe for some guy I've never heard of who's doing work I've never seen, and then got mad at me when I didn't accept her Facebook phone call at midnight. First off, who the hell calls somebody on Facebook? You serial killer. But that's neither here nor there. So if you want me to promote something for you, normally I'll do it. Just don't be a giant asshole about it. Something to think about. So let's dive right in. No, we've got a new Federal Reserve chair. We're going to start with the soft ones first. We're going to start with the soft stories first because we're going to have some fun at the expense of Don Lemon and Bill Gates in a little bit. But President Trump has picked a new Federal Reserve chair. He's picked Governor Kevin Warsh as the new Fed chair. Many people thought it was going to be Kevin Hassett, who's repeatedly on TV all the time. But President Trump today nominated Kevin Warsh to be the next Federal Reserve chair, choosing the former Fed governor to lead an institution that the president has attacked relentlessly over fiscal policy. Warsh, if confirmed by the Senate, would replace Fed Chair Jerome Powell, the target of repeated criticisms and insults from the president. I'm reading this from USA Today, so I don't know why they have to comment, that the president doesn't like the Fed chair over and over and over again. It turns out he's really terrible at his job. In Warsh, Trump picked a frequent Fed critic who prefers lower interest rates, yet also a fiscal moderate who's more cautious about deploying heavy monetary strategies. He was on the Federal Reserve Chair Board from 2006 to 2011. Here was Kevin Hassett speaking on that. Well, here it is.
I've got my dream job. You guys have been seeing me say that for months. I think President Trump made a great choice, and I'm really thrilled and humbled by all the kind things he said about me. The bottom line is that the economic team in this White House with Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick and myself, I think we've been hitting on all cylinders, and it's a really bad time to change teams. You don't change quarterbacks when you're way ahead, and I really have high regard for Kevin, and we're going to put every effort that we have into getting him confirmed as soon as possible so that we can get the Fed moving in the right direction.
Absolutely, because honestly, we've seen markets reaching their all-time highs over the last couple of days. They repeatedly reached their all-time highs. Now would be a good time to lower those Federal Reserve interest rates so that maybe, just maybe, shocker, maybe someone will be able to afford to either buy or sell a home sometime in the next, decade or so. Just something to think about. Jerome Powell's term is up in May, I believe it is, where the president will have the opportunity to appoint a new Federal Reserve chairman who will serve for an additional 10 years. Unless he leaves, hopefully we can get some responsible monetary policy that'll actually boost the economy in an even better way. As I've said numerous times on this show, the president and his team are resorting to the big, beautiful bill to be able to provide the economic relief that Republicans are going to need moving into the midterms. Because right now, Democrats, they got nothing. Their tax and spend policies continue to hurt the average American. Abigail Spanberger, who is now the new governor of Virginia, was frequently seen as the least insane Democrat in the country. She very famously, on a conference call, told fellow Democrats to cut the ish out with the defund the police movement because it's killing them, which it was, in addition to being completely immoral and dumb. However, upon taking office in the Commonwealth of Virginia, she has decided that she's going to implement a few new taxes. Just a few to boost revenue, just a few, not really things that are going to impact you, the everyday average middle class American. No, these things won't impact you at all.
Here's a list of the many tax increases and proposals Democrats in Virginia are considering passing. They include additional local sales tax in all Virginia counties and cities, new personal property tax on electric leaf blowers and electric landscaping equipment, large employer tax, gun and ammunition tax, new income tax brackets, a delivery tax. This would hit you if you make an order on Amazon, Uber Eats, or an order that includes UPS, FedEx delivery, etc. here in Northern Virginia. There's also a tax they're looking at for events, concerts, an investment income tax, storage facility tax, gym membership tax, dog walking tax, dog grooming tax, counseling tax, digital personal property tax, new car taxes and highway use fees, an increase in the hotel tax here in Arlington. Statewide speed cameras. Now, these aren't taxes, but they would include more fines for some drivers. Dry cleaning tax, home repair tax, and a vehicle repair tax.
They should really be listening to their constituents a lot more, because these tax increases are going to hurt those who are struggling the most.
Republicans are blasting Virginia Democrats' tax.
Hold on. What the hell is a dog walking tax? What the hell does that mean? Like, okay, the other ones, at least, I mean, conceptually, they make sense. Like, I can understand the concept of raising taxes on dry cleaning. I don't know why. But, like, okay, you're going to tax people who have dry cleaners more. Okay. But if I walk my dog in Virginia now, I have to pay a tax? What the hell what does that even mean? What does that even mean? Hotel taxes now, okay. All right. Hotel taxes apparently just in Arlington. I don't know why. That's incredibly odd. So now staying in one Virginia town will be more expensive than staying in another Virginia town. How many more times can Democrats tax $1? How many more times? How much more blood can they get out of that rock? But never underestimate Republicans' ability to screw things up. I don't know how we're not out by a mile. I don't know how we're not sweeping people right now. I don't know how we're losing. I can tell you how we're losing. Actually, no, I can't tell you. I mean, I know, but I'm not allowed to say it out loud because I'm supposed to be good. This is what happens when you campaign for a utopia that doesn't exist. And then you get into office and you find out that it turns out there are real world implications to the things you have proposed. One more note on that one. Kami Mamdani in New York City has proposed a tax on people with over $1 million of net worth. $1 million of net worth. That sounds like a lot. But watch what he does here. I'm going to play you this clip. Watch how in one sentence he just kind of sneaks in the caveat right underneath everybody else.
Hey, Mayor. I'm wondering about the wisdom of calling on higher taxes for wealthy corporations when the governor has been clear that that is not her priority and she's not interested in that. And I wonder if that will leave the city in a difficult position if politically you are unable to get those things done.
I think what we're seeing right now is that the city is in a difficult position. We are also seeing a moment where...
Yes, it's in a difficult position because they elected a moron.
Where the gross fiscal mismanagement has left New Yorkers with a bill the likes of which we have not seen in many, many years. And we have...
I know a good way to fix that. We should probably make everything free.
Seen in the politics of the past that in moments such as these, we ask those with the least to bear the greatest burden. And we know that here in the wealthiest city, in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, that we can not only put our city back on firmer financial footing, but also build a stronger city for everyone if the top 1% of New Yorkers pay an additional 2% in income taxes.
All right, got top 1%. Very good. Okay, all right, let's see where he goes here.
Recently, I actually had a New Yorker turn to me and self-identify as someone who would be taxed by this proposal.
Okay, now you're about to hear a story that definitely didn't happen.
I said, I'm a millionaire, and is it true that you want to raise taxes on me? And I said, it is true. And they said, well, I would leave. I said, I don't think you would. They said, why not? I said, because we're looking to raise income taxes on the top 1% by 2%. So for $1 million a year, that's an increase of $20,000 in taxes. And when I told them the amount, they realized that it wasn't enough to actually make them change where they would consider their residence.
matter if the governor says she's not doing it?
I think what we've seen for far too long is the city hasn't even advocated for itself when it comes to Albany.
That's right. So he wants to raise taxes on a millionaire. On a millionaire, you guy. No. It's $1 million in wealth, which means if you own your apartment, you will be taxed 20%. You will be taxed just 2% more. Just, $20,000 a year. What's $20,000 a year? No skin off their ass. No. Also, the governor has already said she's not doing it. Because what Mayor Mamdani doesn't seem to understand, and he does understand it, he's just, capitulating to the dumbest people in America, is that only a little bit of the money actually goes to New York City. As a matter of fact, the majority of the rest of the state subsidizes New York City because New York City spends so much. And the majority of the people who work in New York City actually don't pay taxes in New York City because they live on Long Island, they live in Westchester. They actually don't live in New York. So people in Buffalo and Rochester and Syracuse and Albany and all the way up in Canada, which is everywhere north of Westchester, they're not going to vote to fund the MTA budget in Brooklyn. And they shouldn't have to. But Zoran doesn't know that. Or maybe he does. And he's just capitulating and I don't know, talking to the dumbest people among us. I'm not really sure. Could he know? Could he not know? Who really knows? But while President Trump continues to cut taxes for low-income people, Mamdani and Abigail Spanberger just keep raising them. For my people in New Jersey, you know that Mikey, I don't know why it's pronounced that way, Mikey Sherrill is proposing the exact same thing. We don't have a tax problem in New York. We have a spending problem. We have a waste problem. We have a fraud problem. And that fraud goes right the way up to Gracie Mansion. But of course, Zoran doesn't know that. All he knows is that he wants to tax you a little bit more so that his wife can wear $700 shoes and he can have a wedding in Uganda. A wedding in Uganda. Man, I tell you, I don't want to let my city die. But on some level, I think we have to be the example for the rest of the world, for the rest of the country. Don't do what we did. Because New York's got a new motto now, that if you can make it here, Zoran Mamdani will probably try to take it from you. We're going to get to all the fun news in just a little bit. Before we get to that, here's Jeremy.
Hey, everybody, if you're not familiar with, then let me introduce to you Armor Colostrum. Now, I didn't know what colostrum was up until a few years ago. I'd never even really heard of it. And then my wife turned me on to Armor Colostrum. And what colostrum does is it helps regrow your hair. Not going to lie, that's the reason that I started looking into it. But then I started noticing some other things that I could benefit from. I used to get acid reflux very badly. I used to bloat very badly. It felt like I was 10 or 15 pounds heavier than I was until I made Armor Colostrum a part of my everyday schedule. And now things have changed so very much. Let me introduce to you what Armor Colostrum actually does and what it looks like. In a study measuring immune cell response to toxin, Armor Colostrum performed 32% stronger and faster than other colostrum companies. 400 plus bionutrients activated in your life, in your body, to help regrow hair, strengthen your gut health, regrow your nails, toenails, and fingernails healthy, get rid of fungus, stop bloating, and more. And now you can get yours right now for up to $18 off each and every purchase at tryarmra.com. Promo code LFATV. Click the apply button once you've entered the code and watch your discount fall off. That is tryarmra.com/LFATV. Order now.
So who's ready to get to the really fun news of the day? Who's ready to get to the fun news? I don't even have to say it. You guys know where I'm going.
Alert, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Melugin joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel. This obviously all in connection with that storming of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota by that group of anti-ICE agitators. Now remember, the feds had gone to judges to try to get Don Lemon arrested before. They went to a magistrate judge in Minnesota who didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to a judge above him. He didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to an appeals court. They also decided not to sign off for an arrest warrant for him. So there was experts who were predicting that perhaps the feds would go to a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm that Don Lemon was arrested in Los Angeles by federal agents just after midnight Los Angeles time at a hotel. Now, typically, standard procedure with an arrest like this is the defendant will likely make their first court appearance sometime the same day. So there's a chance we may see Don Lemon make his first court appearance in Los Angeles sometime today. But obviously, this is going to grab all sorts of headlines. 3 other protesters from that church storming, have already been arrested, including who the feds say was the organizer of that protest. The woman in the middle there is a school board member in St. Paul, and then the mugshot on the right is an online personality / agitator, if you want to call him that. He's known as DeWoke Farmer. Those were the 3 people that the feds had already arrested, but we have confirmed that Don Lemon has now been arrested in Los Angeles in connection with that viral incident. We all saw the video of it that spread. And
first off, I think it's funny that Bill Melugin has to comment DeWoke Farmer. That's number one. Number two, it's just funny. It's just funny that, look, some people are saying that Donald Trump is getting revenge, that he's getting revenge on Don Lemon. And I didn't think so. I really didn't. I mean, it's very clear that Don Lemon did, in fact, commit a crime. The indictment has been unsealed. He's been charged with 1 count of conspiracy against the right of religious freedom in a place of worship, and count 2, a violation of the FACE Act in an attempt to injure, intimidate, interfere, or exercise the right of the freedom of religion at a place of worship. Which she obviously did. Holding a camera and having a microphone doesn't absolve you of crimes if you just yell, "I'm a journalist." Talk to Owen Schroyer if you need any evidence of that one. Now, normally, I would say he committed a crime. This is not revenge. But then I found out that Don Lemon was arrested at a hotel at midnight. I mean, that's kind of funny. Gets a bang on his hotel door. It's the feds coming to arrest him. Good. I'm happy about it. It's a little schadenfreude. You know why? Because Don Lemon's a bad person. Don Lemon's a bad guy who does bad things, and I'm happy when bad things happen to bad people. And maybe that is a character flaw of mine. It could be. But I'm just happy to see it. Don Lemon, the same guy that runs around yelling white supremacy everywhere, may be charged under the KKK Act, which is just funny. It's just funny. And I want more of it. I'd like a lot more of it. Oh, boy. ICE protests are underway in Minnesota right now. Let's see. What do we got here? They're having a national walkout over ICE right now in Minnesota. Let's see. Can I get the footage up here? See if I can get the footage up here real quick. They're having a national walkout, schools, and oh wow, there's a good bit of them out there. Look at that. Apparently, a bunch of people had nothing better to do today. Let's see where we got here. There we go.
watching as it's been going on. I try to put that one up on your screen right now. As you can see, there are several, again, they're crossing some of the public transportation tracks, it looks like at this point, but it's quite a large crowd of people there gathered in Minneapolis. Let's try to listen in to this vantage point.
But they are getting.
I guess the audio crapped out for them. We'll throw it back to them once they fix it. A national walkout going on in Minnesota right now. That's a shame. That's a shame. Good. I hope you all freeze your asses off. Pneumonia. A little bit of that. Also, real quick, for a lot of people, I do want to just remind everybody on the Don Lemon thing. Many people are out there requesting, where is the mugshot? Where is the mugshot? You're not going to get one, okay? You're not going to get a mugshot like they had for President Trump because federal crimes do not release mugshots. President Trump, the mugshot you saw was a state crime, which is why there was a mugshot that was released. You're not going to get one on Don Lemon, unfortunately, as much as I wish there was one, because if there were, I would absolutely be putting it on a T-shirt, just saying. But for now, we'll... Let's see, what do we got? Well, for now, we'll just, you know what? For now, we'll use this one. We'll just use that one real quick. Since we're not going to get the mugshot, we'll make one with AI. There's actually an idiot in the comments section telling me this isn't real. This is AI. Yeah. Obviously. So you're not going to get the mugshot, unfortunately. Probably, what is this? No, let's see. It's California. No, it's not in California. They're doing the walkout in Minneapolis. Of course, also today, there was a new Epstein drop. So right now, all the people, I call them the Gaza Epstein Kirk crew on X, people who have made their entire careers talking about three subjects. They're sleuthing through everything right now, and we're finding out some juicy little details right now. Number one, Bill Gates is in a little bit of trouble because it turns out in some of the Epstein files, he had asked Jeffrey Epstein for advice on what antibiotics to take to get rid of an STD he got from a Russian hooker. Yeah, that's real. That was in the new Epstein drop. And I want to be clear when I talk about this Epstein stuff, it's going to be a lot of tongue-in-cheek because obviously I do care about this. I want to see all the people involved in this put away for the rest of their lives. But if you've watched this show repeatedly, you know that I'm going to continue to say that I don't think you're going to get anything. I think if they released everything unredacted, which obviously they can't do because there's victims' names involved in it, but even if you were to get everything, I don't think there's going to be anybody in there that you're going to be shocked by. I think you're going to know about like 4 or 5 people's names, and the rest of the people you're going to be ones you've never heard of before. But we will get funny ones like this as part of the massive Epstein drop released by the Department of Justice on Friday. A pair of emails alleged that Microsoft founder Bill Gates had received STDs from Russian girls, and that the tech billionaire had requested antibiotics to give to his then-wife Melinda Gates, which is probably why she's so pissed off at him. Turns out if you marry some goofy guy because he's got an unbelievable amount of money and then he gives you the clap that he got from a Russian hooker, you might end up leaving. In an email sent July of 2013, Epstein wrote, "Dear Bill, I cannot believe that you have chosen to disregard our friendship developed over the last 6 years. I am aware that incidents happen. It is how each of us have chosen to deal with our unfortunate event that has me dismayed beyond comprehension." Who talks like this? Who talks like this? "You have decided to discharge me from my job. Had Larry, your personal PR person, tell me that I engaged in morally inappropriate behavior. Asked me to be the major actor in a cover-up so that you could maintain your reputation that you worked so hard to achieve. Asked me not to recommit to a confidentiality agreement and have categorically told me that we cannot have any direct ongoing business relationship in total disregard for the impact on the public persona of my reputation." Later in the email, To add insult to injury, you then implore me to please delete any emails regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you with antibiotics that you could give to Melinda and the description of your penis. You also made it clear to me that I am not to refer to redacted as that in another topic that must remain between us. I have decided to resign my position effective immediately from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. What are we doing? What are we doing? Bill Gates, you're the richest man in the world, bro. You can't get non-STD hookers? Are you kidding me? I see people like that and I think to myself, I struggle. And then guys like that are roaming around with all the money in the world. It's it's wild. It goes on. These emails are absolutely hilarious between Bill and Melinda Gates. But between Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein, I should say. Here was Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche with more information about the Epstein drop.
I want to talk for a minute about something that is important. Every single day of the year, the Department of Justice investigates and prosecutes those who abuse and traffic young women and children. Just last year, the FBI located over 2,700 victims of child exploitation. The Department of Justice found and terminated 3.8 million dark web pedophile accounts. In August, we charged 11 defendants for extensive sex trafficking in Los Angeles of illegal immigrants and underage women. Last month, we charged 5 men who were engaged in a sadistic sextortion network of deranged young men abusing women. Over the past several months, last summer and into the fall, we executed Operation Restore Justice, rescuing 205 child victims and arresting 293 offenders. I point this out because I take umbrage at the suggestion, which is totally false, that the Attorney General or this department does not take child exploitation or sex trafficking seriously, or that we somehow do not want to protect victims. We do. There are some select members of Congress and some in the public eye, including those most critical of our efforts at full transparency under the Act, who remain silent as to all the work that we have done and continue to do every day in this space, while quickly pointing a finger at the Attorney General or this department because we were careful in our review of millions of pages of documents.
And look, I want to be clear. Look, did it take them a while to release this stuff? Yeah. They had to go through like 6 million pages worth of documents to redact victims' names. It's going to take a while. I don't care who's doing it. I don't care how many people you have doing it. That's a lot of pieces of paper. But as I told everybody, everyone, I don't think you're going to get much out of this. I hate to break it to you. I think a lot of people thought there was going to be some kind of grand conspiracy where every person you didn't like happened to find himself on these lists. Naturally, there was some lists going around that were shared by everybody that conveniently had every celebrity who's ever been an asshole to the American right on the list. I don't think so. I'm just going to roll the dice and say Eminem's probably not on there. Kathy Griffin probably isn't on there. I'm a huge fan of Eminem. I very much don't like Kathy Griffin. But I think if you're going to have a giant orgy in the U.S. Virgin Islands, you're probably not going to call Kathy Griffin. I don't know. Just a thought I have. Maybe not the person that I would invite to my orgy. One of the ugliest people on planet Earth. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. So the internet sleuths will continue to go through the latest batch of Epstein docs to find out everything. Everything that's in this new batch. People will continue to go through it, and I'm sure we'll get a dump over the course of the weekend. What a Friday, guys. I got to tell you, normally news doesn't really drop like this at the end of the week, but we had some big stuff happen throughout the day today. More fallout from Minnesota. Of course, as we said, there are currently people marching out in the streets for absolutely no reason, pissing and moaning about I'm not totally sure what. Because, the left's narrative on this guy, Alex Purdy, has completely and utterly blown up, which we knew. We knew it happened if we just waited like 72 hours. He was Greg Gutfeld destroying that narrative.
No cops there to stop it because the mayor told them to ignore the protocol. Think about the long-term cost of that short-term feel-good virtue signal that allowed Jacob Frey to feel like a hero for a week, and 2 people died because he wanted to feel good. Talk about how selfish that is. If Freddie had been arrested, the trajectory of his life would have been markedly different. Yeah. He would have been alive. Again, as I said about Ms. Good's death, these families, Freddie's family has a very good civil case of negligence against the city. By not cooperating with ICE, their son is dead. That is not on ICE. That is Jacob Frey and Tim Walz. At this point, you're looking at 12-figure lawsuits from any family that wishes to go forward. I think the video is really important, not for this case, but for I guess the American psyche in general, because not only does it show you context, it demystifies the aura of the protester. It tears away the heroic portrayal that the media often does with protesters. They did this during the Summer of Love. They made sure to keep you from seeing the looting and the fires and stuff. They needed to show the anguished faces of the people. And this also happened, and I'll get to it in a second, with the pro-Hamas supporters. What you saw in that video was the reality, the mindset of the people that are swayed into these moral panics. Angry, aggressive, infantile, childlike, unstable, looking for trouble, tragically finding it. The more you see this, the more America sees this, the better America is, because you're gonna reduce the number of tragedies by demystifying the romance of this action. The media presents an entirely opposite view of protesters. Hollywood movies do the same thing. That is the protester. Going home alone, sad and depressed. Going out again and doing the same thing. Going home, going out. They are troubled, sad people. And I said it about the Goods family, and I'll say it about Freddie's family. They didn't want their relative there. If you could talk somebody out of it, you would.
You would, and you should. Because many of these people in Minneapolis genuinely think that they are like the French Resistance. And this has been the theme of the show over the course of the last week. And I started the week off making fun of that woman who blew her hand off. Because it's funny. It just is. And every time I see that video of that lady picking up the flashbang grenade and throwing it at a cop, I can't help but think of Carl Weathers poking Adam Sandler with his wooden hand. But these people think they're in the middle of a war. And it bears a question. If people are at war against you, are you in a war? That's a real question. They think that they are rising up. As a matter of fact, as Tim Pool points out, when Tim Walz was questioned the other day about whether or not the shooting of Alex Purdy was a Fort Sumter moment, he didn't say no.
Trump did pull back, and I think Homan did state that the reason he's here is not because things have been going fairly well, but hopefully now there's going to be some negotiations where things can calm down. I think the terrifying thing about Minnesota, the situation with Purdy, the situation with Renee Good, is that we're looking at a leftist space in this country that are being radicalized. They're being told that ICE are Nazis, they're Gestapo, they're kidnapping children, when none of this is true. It's all exaggerated, and it's resulting in panic. It's resulting in people like Purdy, who otherwise seemed like a good dude. I know a lot of people, they're polarized on this. They want to say either he was, deranged or whatever. I mean, look, the guy was a nurse. He worked for the VA. I don't think he was an evil guy. But he's radicalized. He shows up, he's spitting on cops, he's kicking their car, instigating these fights, and it results in these unfortunate circumstances that I don't think anybody wanted to see happen. So it does seem like it's good that Trump is sending in Homan's toning things down a bit. My concern is that there's a bloodlust that's not going to be satisfied. When Homan comes in and Trump talks with Waltz, protesters went to Tim Waltz's office angry that he would even negotiate. So how we get the temperature down in this country without any kind of serious escalation, I honestly don't know. Even Tim Waltz asked the question today, is this Fort Sumter? And I certainly hope it's not.
Yeah, and Tim Walz didn't say no when he was asked. They're up here. Here we go. It's happening right now. There is a bloodlust, as Tim, and I think the way Tim put it is absolutely appropriate. There is a bloodlust right now in this country that, oh, here we go. Of course it went away. Of course it went away right as I threw to it. People are getting worked up to a very serious level. And if we don't take it seriously, if we don't take it as seriously as they're taking it, we're going to have a very serious problem on our hands. Moreover, I don't know if Tim Walz is necessarily done just yet. He said he would never run for another position. However, new events have proven that he may not need to run to not go away in the public lexicon. We'll get to that in 1 second. Before we do that, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com and use promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. Let's pop the live chat up on the screen. Hope everybody is having a good day today. Hopefully you're in a place where the weather has broken and it is not like look, it's winter. It's going to be cold. But this is a different level of cold. I tell you what, I don't know. This whole global warming is getting me freezing my ass off. It's getting me freezing my ass off. B Hops, what's up? Sophie, how are you? Chickenhead, say hello in the chat. Let me know. Are you watching the show from the frozen tundra? Or are you in like one of two cities where it is slightly warm outside? Where it is slightly warm outside. Before we keep going, guys, do me a favor and click my name in the chat. If you're not following my page already, certainly helps me out. There we go. Boom. There we go. Before we keep rocking and rolling, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That's your home base, your mothership, your landing pad for all things LFA-TV related. Check out the LFA-TV store. Irish, I'm with you. I'm down the block. Irish 539, I'm with you. We are in the same weather pattern. Oh, we got somebody watching from Alberta. We are now in Canada. Shout out to Arnold60, watching from Alberta, baby. Oh, yeah. Alberta, aren't you guys going to become part of America soon? Is that the province that voted to leave Canada? I think it's Alberta. I'm not sure. TPH says we're having a heat wave. It's 42 degrees. Yeah, we're having a heat wave, a tropical heat wave, that's for sure. Once again, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. Check out Jeremy's shop. That is the best way to support this show and everything we've got going on. Go to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. So, as I said, Tim Walz may not be done yet. Amy Klobuchar, the senator from Minnesota, has announced that she will be running to replace him as governor of Minnesota. And as governor of Minnesota, she can then appoint anyone she wants to fill her Senate seat. That's just the way the Senate works. There is no special election for the Senate. The governor appoints the senator in every state. In every state that happens. Could she appoint Tim Walz to be the next senator from Minnesota?
Governor Walz, though, you'll notice, Jesse, careful to say that he will not run for public office again. However, Senator Amy Klobuchar could still appoint him to her Senate seat. Also interesting to note that Senator Klobuchar, in her announcement, did not mention President Trump today by name. She did say that she was going to root out fraud, but that's hard for many of us to believe. She's been a senator for nearly 20 years. She has been silent on the issue of Somali fraud in Minnesota.
Wait,
Jesse.
so Liz, are you saying there's a deal between Walz and Amy? She's going to appoint him to be a senator?
It is a possibility, and I thought the word choice in that interview last night was quite interesting. But here on the ground, I think police officers are feeling a bit relieved. I've been speaking to them through this whole process. You know, many of them couldn't do their jobs, especially in Minneapolis before, but Homan seems to have changed things here. We saw mass arrests in Minneapolis. That hasn't happened or been allowed to happen, I should say, in weeks. Instead, they're watching other agencies move in and do the job that they should be tasked to do. But again, kind of this manufactured crisis. I know you spoke about the fall of Minneapolis, which I appreciate, but so many of those same people in power, actually the exact same people, and we're seeing this all on repeat.
So it's entirely possible that homeless Homer Simpson may not be done in the public eye just yet. May not be done just yet, which, you know, that's a shame. That's a shame. Guys, we're going to check in on the ICE protesters for just a minute. Let's see what's going on over here.
A few moments so you can sort of see and hear. We have different vantage points. I want to put this one up on your screen as well. Let's listen to it.
Guys, as I said, we may laugh at these people, and they are certainly fun to laugh at. However, they are serious, and if we don't get serious about it, I worry what could come next. That man has a very little bullhorn, by the way. Very big man, very little bullhorn. If we don't take this seriously, if we don't take it as seriously as they are, I would urge caution against that.
All right, so what you're seeing there, as we're continuing to remind you that viewer discretion is advised as we're showing you some of these images, is right now immigration's operations are continuing there in Minnesota as those protests in a benefit concert. And this is still going on there. This is the second day of a national day of action that was planned for today in response to the ongoing ICE operations within the state. These demonstrations, though, come as the First Avenue is now hosting a benefit concert to raise funds for the families of Alex Preddy and Renee Good, the two people who were shot and killed by federal agents earlier this month.
Good. I'm happy you're raising money for them. Keep raising money for them. Have a good time. But look, I would urge people to take this more seriously than they are, because somebody in one of the chats, I'm not sure which platform, said, I don't know what war looks like, but I know it doesn't look like signs in the street. You're right. War doesn't look like signs in the street at first. These people are orchestrated, they're calculated, and they're well organized. If this doesn't get taken seriously, then when will it? What would have to happen? What would have to happen for us on the right to begin taking these sorts of things seriously? What would have to happen? Does an ICE agent have to be killed? I don't know. Does another assassination attempt have to happen on the political right for us to begin taking it seriously? Because Charlie Kirk is dead, and Donald Trump lost part of his ear, or got his ear, got shot at a rally. I forgot who said it, but they always say that the snowflake doesn't blame itself for the avalanche. Are we in the middle of it right now and we don't know it yet? Because we're in the middle of it, people keep saying that nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. No. It's just that everything is happening so much every day all at once that it seems like nothing is happening. This is not normal. These sorts of street protests, they're not normal. When you guys were growing up, when I was growing up, shit like this didn't happen. Are we in the middle of it now and we just don't notice? That's the real question. That's the real question. And Tim Walz and Jacob Fry seem to be egging it on. They seem to be egging it on. But I got a couple more little fun nuggets I want to make sure that I go over before we check out here for the weekend. Today was a wild day. Today, I'm telling you, today was an absolutely, on a personal level, today was an absolutely insane day. I feel like the entire world got together before noon today. They all got together and was like, you know what we should do? We should all break Kevin's balls incessantly for the dumbest possible reasons. So, today's been a wild one. Today's been a wild one for sure. For sure. Pretty nuts. But not as nuts as, I don't know, a judge kidnapping an attorney and locking him in a jury room, because that's what happened in, I think it's called Bashar, Texas. Check this out.
We start this evening with the Bexar County judge on the other side of the gavel. Judge Rosie Speedland Gonzalez faces multiple charges tonight, including a second-degree felony. We just got her mugshot a few minutes ago. It's right here behind us. News 4's cameras caught the moment Speedland Gonzalez walked into a courtroom to be indicted. Tonight, there are questions about what happens next. News 4 San Antonio's Phil Sterling has been following the story for us all day. He joins us live with the very latest on the charges. Phil.
Now, County Court at Law Judge Rosie Speedland Gonzalez arrived here to the Cadena Reeves Justice Center to show up to a courtroom only feet away from her own, just down the hall. This right here behind me is her courtroom. We got a copy right here of the indictment of all the charges that were read to her, although it did give limited information as to what happened. At a county court, at-law judge Rosie Speedland Gonzalez is in court, but not to preside over a case. She's here to be arraigned. She's been charged with 1 count of unlawful restraint by a peace officer or judge, a second-degree felony, and official oppression, a Class A misdemeanor. The Bexar County District Attorney filed a motion for recusal regarding the case, so a special prosecutor named Brian Cromeans of Goliad County was appointed to handle the case. Meanwhile, we reached out to Speedland Gonzalez's office for comment and are still waiting on a response. What we do know is that she presides over the Refleo Court, a court specializing in reducing domestic violence by authorizing specialized supervision for offenders, like matching them with officers with small caseloads. But now, according to the Judicial Commission Online, when a judge is criminally charged, they're suspended without pay. The commission cannot reinstate them while charges are pending. The only question is whether that suspension stays unpaid. Now, the next time that we see her in court is not known, although we do know that her caseload is being offloaded onto other judges. Phil Sterling reporting live, News 4 San Antonio.
Because even though the news didn't come right out and say it, that's what this judge did. Handcuffed an attorney and kidnapped him, locking him in a jury room. I guess that's kind of mild for Texas, but, it's not really something that the rest of us are too used to seeing. So it's a little odd. Also, on some good news, on the good news front, a company that has severely lost its way. A company that has severely lost its way apparently has fired everyone in their marketing department and has decided that on the eve of the Super Bowl, they are going to come out with a commercial that actually, inspires people. That actually brings back that sort of old world feeling. And I want to be clear. I'm still not going to drink your shitty beer. However, I dislike you a little bit less than I did last year. This is a great commercial.
I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird will never change. Oh, and the bird you cannot change. Lord, I can't change. Won't you fly?
Crying?
Sun's in my eyes.
Look, Budweiser, I'm still not going to drink your beer because I'm not going to drink it because I'm not boycotting it or anything. I'm not drinking it because Budweiser is disgusting. And so is Bud Light. And so remember Bud Light Platinum? Remember when they tried that for a little bit? That was disgusting too. So I'm not going to drink your crappy beer. But it's a great ad. It's a great ad. I guess they fired their activists and found out that Budweiser's core constituency is poor people. Poor people. Before we wrap up today, guys, I've got some incredibly bad news. Catherine O'Hara has died at the age of 71. Catherine O'Hara, of course, was made famous for uttering a line in a movie that ruined my life personally. Here it is. Catherine O'Hara, an absolute comedy legend. Home Alone, Beetlejuice, Schitt's Creek. Absolute legend. Catherine O'Hara, thanks for the laughs. Take care. Guys, it's 4 p.m. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. I'll catch you all back live on Monday. Until then, everybody, stay loud.